Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast discussion for Survivor 41, Episode 5. I'm feeling a little bit sick today, so I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter. We'll just quickly go through some of the key parts of the recap. Right at the start, Jeannie finds the idol for the Ua camp. She doesn't open it, she shares it with the others. Shan goes and opens it and says that uh, it doesn't tell Jeannie, but just says that she's going to say the phrase at the challenge to try to bait out the other tribes and see if they've found theirs. Over at the Luvu camp, Deshaun and Danny are discussing throwing again. They talk to Nasir about it. He doesn't want to, so they're not going to. At the Yasa camp, Evie and Xander are talking. Evie's just doing this to make Xander feel comfortable. Liana and Tiffany don't trust it, though. They think that Evie might have a closer bond with Xander than they originally expected. Uh, Xander tells Tiffany about his advantage, but earlier Tiffany and Liana had looked through his bag, and so she already knows about his advantages and the idol, and she's able to catch him in a lie because of this. We go to the immunity challenge where Shan says her phrase, Xander says his, and then we finally hear the Luvu tribe's phrase from Nasir. We then get a flashback to Nasir finding it. This was a great little editing moment. For the challenge, uh, the Luvu tribe and the Yasa tribe win, so they get immunity. Um, and Uwa's going back to tribal council once again. Uh, Yasa gets to choose someone from the Uwa tribe and one other player to go on a journey. They choose Shan and Liana to go on the journey. Shan and Liana start to bond. They tell each other each tribe's secrets, who's got which advantages. And Shan tells Liana a little bit of her backstory, her life growing up, and about her mother. This is some nice backstory to get from her, since despite being a major character, we haven't gotten too much of it from her. Um, Shan says that Liana should risk her vote and she'll protect hers to build a little bit of trust between them. So Liana gets the knowledge is power advantage. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but she plans to use it against Xander. At the Ua camp, they each are going to have a chance to talk to each other and figure out how they're voting. Ricard tells Jeannie to vote for Shan, but he doesn't really mean it. Um, Jeannie tells Shan that Ricard is trying to blindside her, and so Shan wants to get her extra vote back from Ricard, but Ricard is smart and knows that uh, that's what got JD voted out, was giving the extra vote to Shan, and then she dropped him as soon as she didn't need him anymore. So he's going to hold on to it until after Tribal Council. At Tribal Council, they discuss the pros and cons of voting each tribe member out, and throughout the Tribal Council, Ricard gives some good reasons to keep him around and some subtle reasons to get rid of Jeannie. Shan says she's keeping who she feels she can go to the end with, and Jeannie is voted out 2-1. So the new advantage is the knowledge is power advantage. This was rewarded from the Prisoner's Dilemma Island. A player may ask another player if they have an advantage. They cannot lie, and if they do have an advantage, the asker gets to steal that advantage from them. So for my review, it would be tough to follow up last week's episode, but I think this episode does a pretty good job. We're still not seeing too much from the Luvu tribe, and what we did see was mostly just rehashing from last week's episode with the discussion of throwing a challenge. We only got a little bit from the Yasa tribe, again, mostly relating to advantages. They were again explaining the idols, and we also got another explanation of the Prisoner's Dilemma Island, even though we've gotten that in almost every episode now. Um, the reveal of Nasir having the idol at the challenge was a fun way of editing that. I really liked the flashback and the little surprise of him having it at the challenge. And also getting to see more of Shan's backstory was really nice. Um, at the Ua Tribal Council, the vote seemed pretty obvious. and it was pretty evident the whole episode, but they did a good job of creating some suspicion that another option might be viable. Overall, I'd say this episode was a little repetitive, but it still wasn't too bad, and I'd give it a 7 out of 10. For my predictions, just to keep it short, I'll just touch on the key players. Shan showed some holes, and I'm not sure that her alliance with Ricard is going to hold on through the merge. But she did make a good bond with Liana, which she might be able to leverage to get in with her and Evie and Tiffany at the merge. Uh, on the Yasa tribe, we each time we go there, we see Evie. We stop in with her, so I think she's still an important person. But she did end up making herself a bit of a target by talking to Xander, which made Liana and Tiffany suspicious of her. But I still think she's doing pretty well. And at the Luvu tribe, like with Evie, we always seem to hear from Deshawn and Sydney. Deshawn is in a really good spot. We always see him having strategic conversations with each member of the tribe, except for Heather, who continues to be barely shown. Sydney, I think, could be there for a while, but I don't see her as a winner, as she's rubbed some people the wrong way. My favorites to win are still Evie and Shan, with Deshawn being just outside of that. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.